Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Chasing Little Greenfish. Today's episode is going to be about the recap of stop number 3 of the Plains Division, the Toyota Series. I know I kind of left a lot of people hanging, so here's the whole story of what happened and how it went down. Stay tuned.
Megan!
Alright, welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're on the Illinois River, my home body of water, river that I've spent a lot of time fishing, and we're actually in my 1979 Ranger. This boat is definitely got a story, like every boat out there. It's got a story to tell. Boat that I really cut my teeth in tournament fishing, and I'll never forget my Uncle Larry. He was actually my dad's best friend, but we always called him Uncle Larry. We were out duck hunting one day, and I was saving up money. I was 16 years old, and I was saving up money to buy a boat. And my Uncle Larry's like, hey, I got a boat. Got this boat from him before he passed away. He did get to see it restored before he passed away, and this boat means the world to me. It's been all over the place. I've fished a lot of college tournaments. I fished my first BFL as a boater on the Mississippi River. It feels good to have the boat back. This is actually the boat that I sold after I was done with college. I sold this boat to pay for entry fees. And the person I sold it to, Tony Krizik, who also played a major role in my fishing career, he actually was nice enough to sell the boat back to me. And Tony, I appreciate it. They got fish blowing up all around us here. But let's jump into it. Let's jump into the tournament. It was a very crucial tournament for me, and it was make or break for the season to make that Toyota championship. I was sitting, I think 36th in points. I needed to have another top 25 finish, I felt like, to even have a shot at sneaking into the top 25, because I started the season in 94th on Lake of the Ozarks. And for those that have been following me on this channel, know that Lake of the Ozarks and me do not get along, or Table Rock, but that's why I fish that division, because it's going to make me a better angler. You put yourself in tough bodies of water that you're not comfortable with. That's the only way you're going to get better, and you got to go pay your dues. So, that being said, I'd been to Lake Dardanelle. That was actually stop number 1 last year for me. But being that it's a river system, that is a strength of mine. You know, dirty water, shallow water, river fishery. And that particular event, with everything else going on in the country, everything was behind this year, it seemed like. Even, being that there was an ice storm in Texas. A lot of them were on beds, I felt like. A lot of them hadn't pulled off to being post-spawn yet. So you had spawning fish, you had a lot of fry garters. And the thing about Lake Dardanelle is that there's really only a handful of key areas where those fish can actually spawn, and that is why those particular areas get a lot of fishing pressure in the spring. I chose to kind of do the 1-2 punch. I was fishing some areas way upriver, kind of away from everybody, and then I did have some backup stuff that was in the community holes. I was very fortunate that I caught 9 bass in 2 days. They were probably the most important 9 bass I've ever caught. And I was able to sneak in and make the Toyota championship. I finished the season in 23rd, so I'm ecstatic. That championship will be this fall at Pickwick in October. So definitely looking forward to that. And somebody's going to be crowned the champion and go home with $200,000. So it's a life-changing thing for a lot of people out there, including myself, that are aspiring to be a professional fisherman. I'm so jacked out of my mind to have qualified. I know what an honor it is. I mean, I truly believe that the Plains Division is one of the toughest divisions. They're all tough. They're all tough. Toyota Series and Bassmaster Opens, I mean, those are the intro level to being a professional angler, depending on what trail you want to go down. They're all tough, no matter what division. But I just feel like the Plains Division, for me, was extra tough because it's not bodies of water that I'm accustomed to, and they are definitely different than anything else I've ever fished. So that being said, I just want to show you how I caught my fish, talk to you a little bit about my adjustment that I made and practice. I felt like it was tough to get bites. You'll see here in the clips, I caught some nice ones and it dialed me into the backwater deal, but I tried not to catch a lot of fish.
Wrong day.
I'm learning that, try your best when you know it's going to be tough to shake fish off, cover up your hook. Those are the type of things I do to try not to. I mean, I locate fish, and then I come back and hopefully catch them in the tournament. Day one of the tournament, I had to make some changes. A lot of the stuff that I found in practice, my first two primary areas, you know, we had clouds and rain and wind every day of practice. First day of the tournament, high skies, no wind, bright sun. So I had to adjust. I had to really go back to the areas that I had found fish, but look for structure, cover, knowing those fish are going to definitely ball up in the grass or ball up in the log jams or those type of things. And that's what I did. I flipped grass day one of the tournament. I chose a Dobbin 55 flip. This is actually the Extreme Champion Extreme series. Now they no longer make this particular model. They make one similar to it, the HP series, the Extreme, and it is just a phenomenal punch rod. I had it teamed up with a Daiwa CT Tatula. It's an 8-to-1 gear ratio reel. Just really helps you jack those fish and get them out of that cover and get them coming to the boat. I had it teamed up with a 1-ounce tungsten weight, a 4-aught flipping hook, Yamagatsu. This is a BizBaits cutter crawl. That right there did all my damage on day one. I fished extremely clean. I was very fortunate to get 5 keeper bites, and I put all 5 in the boat. Just made some good adjustments and really got fortunate. Funny side story, but something to pay attention to, and a lesson I'm glad I didn't learn completely the hard way. When you're in the last flight, like I was, making it back to weigh-in obviously is always very important, but getting your fish up on stage before the scales close, also very important. I was very fortunate. I was the last person to weigh in. I got up there right before the scales closed. Definitely something to keep in mind is that if they close the scales on you, you don't get to weigh your fish that day. So it's very important to keep that in mind. I'm very fortunate I didn't learn that the hard lesson, but it's just something, if you're fishing tournaments and you're new to fishing tournaments, and they say they're closing the scales, they mean it. They ain't messing around, and you want to make sure you get your fish weighed before they do that, because I hope that never happens to anybody. I hope it never happens to me. I'm going to do everything I possibly can not to be that guy. Day two, I knew I needed to make some changes. I wasn't on a lot of fish. I knew I was very fortunate to get those 5 bites. So I threw an audible. I started in a place that I didn't start on, or didn't even fish on day one. My co-angler on day 2 was actually leading the tournament, so I was very happy for him that I went to that area because he caught a 2-pounder right off the bat, and that ended up helping him, so he got to fish the 3rd and final day. So he had a fish, I had a fish, and I ran a bunch of other stuff. Didn't work out, so I ran back up the river to where I caught my fish on day 1, and I knew right away when I got in there the clouds rolled in, but there was still very little wind to no wind, kind of like how it is today. And I knew those fish were in that grass and that hyacinth, but I flipped it. I threw a chatterbait on the outside edge, threw a spinnerbait, threw a buzzbait, and honestly didn't have any bites.
I'm gonna need help.
Something I remember from a good friend of mine, Richard Dunham, we were in college, is when it gets slick like that and you know you're dealing with some post-spawn or some fish that maybe are spawning, it is hard to beat a popper type bait. This just happens to be the new Berkeley Bullet Pop. Awesome bait, you can cast it really, really well. That matte bluegill finish, which obviously looks really, really good. I was throwing it on a Dobbins Champion Series 70B CB. It's not the glass model, this is still the composite rod. Had 30-pound braid on my reel. I just really think it helps with that nose stretch, but you want, obviously, that tip in the rod to give, because obviously your braid isn't. Something in that equation needs to give since you do have treble hooks. So I had 30-pound braid, gamma braid, on a Daiwa Tatula 7-to-3 gear ratio. I really like the CT series, just fits my hand really nice. And that was it. This bait played a key role. I had 3 blow-ups on the bait. Caught every single one. 2 of them were solid 3-pounders. And that right there saved my season. No doubt. I don't catch those fish. I obviously don't get to go to the championship. So that was it.
I got him.
Like I said, the guy that I drew the last day, he made it to the final day, and just can't say thank you enough to all my support system. Obviously, my girlfriend Anna, who's with me right now, she's filming. She's done a great job helping me any way she can. Missed not traveling with her for that one, but hopefully she makes it down to the championship in Alabama. And just want to say thanks to all my support system again. Lucas Oil Marine Products, can't do it without them. First and foremost, Ben Green Insurance Agency, my brother Ben, my cousin Kevin Sigolito. I know I talk a bunch about, honestly, if it wasn't for them holding down the office so I can go out here and chase these little greenfish, truly appreciate that. Bedford Sales, Morris, Illinois. They are a Phoenix, Vexus, and Lund dealership. Randy Miller and Jenny Miller, they are the new owners, and they've done a lot for me. Obviously, I was able to borrow the demo boat at the first event, at my second event at Grand Lake. Brandon Schmoe let me borrow his boat here on this last event. Appreciate you letting me do that. It was flawless. Couldn't do it without you. I'm in the process of getting my new boat. Hopefully I'll have it put together and ready to go for the next event, which is the Northern Toyota Series, which stop number 1 is Lake Champlain. So looking forward to it. We made it halfway through the season. Gonna do a little fishing here, a little outro of doing some fishing here on the Illinois River. And again, on to the next one. Appreciate all the support. Hope everyone's doing well. And we'll see you next time on Chasing Little Greenfish. I'll see you.